Good morning, everybody. This is Jim Feist in Las Vegas, and I'm joined again by Hank Goldberg in sunny South Florida. Hank, good morning.
Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I see you had a pretty good night last night in the NBA.
I did, yeah. I had the under, and I had the dog in the Golden State game. So yeah, the Golden State series with Pelicans should be interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if the Pelicans can give them a match or not, but a lot depends on when Curry comes back. But without Curry, it could be pretty good. It could be pretty good.
What's the latest medical report on Curry?
He might be. He's been practicing. He got the go-ahead to practice. He might be ready about halfway through the series.
Well, he does make a difference, that's for sure. But Klay Thompson's a great player. A lot of people don't recognize he does a lot on the defensive end, as well as scoring quite a few points.
Well, the Pelicans are tough. You know, they've got three real good players, and they're pretty well balanced beyond that. And they've got a guy who's as good as anybody, I think, with one exception on Golden State. So we'll see how they do.
Yeah, I know you're talking about Drew Holiday. He's been remarkable, and Davis, of course.
Well, I'm not talking about Holiday, but Holiday's very good too. I say they got three very good players, but and one guy, the one guy who's as good as anybody, with the exception of one player for Golden State.
The last time they matched up with the Warriors swept them in the playoffs. So they're going to have that on their mind, and they're going to give them a battle.
This is a different team. This is not the same team. They have Rondo now. They have, Holiday is really good, and they've got, in my mind, as good a player as there is in the league.
Well, Davis is amazing. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
No question. I have not.
And
let me see if have you seen a number on that game yet?
I am not. No. They play Saturday, I think.
I think we got a number. I got to go find that number. But let me see if I can get it. We got
some. I see the number on the series.
I'm going to look right now. But it's just not coming up on my computer at the moment. But we do have some games right now. We got Washington, Toronto. We've got Indiana, Cleveland, and we've got Minnesota, Houston. And we have those to worry about yet.
Well, the Washington-Toronto series is very interesting. I think Toronto at home has been that's been a home-and-home series, but Washington is playing pretty good ball right now. That should be a good game tonight. It's Toronto is if they do their usual, they'll fold, but I don't know. They're pretty good. They're a pretty good club right now. I'll tell you this. I think that those two. Beal is if Beal stays in the game, he's a big factor to go with Wall. That's a tough combination for Washington.
They are a very tough combination. One of the better backcourts in the game, that's for sure. The 7.5 point line there in that game. Toronto
Yep.
was 7. It's gone up to 7.5. But like you said, it's been a home-and-home series. Toronto has won both games at home, and so was Washington. That was the same situation going on in Cleveland last night. The home teams have won all the games. And that held up. That helped up.
Yeah, I don't like Cleveland. I think Cleveland's got big trouble. I was talking to somebody who really knows the stuff when it comes to X's and O's in basketball. Made a great point. Outside of LeBron, Cleveland doesn't have a setup man. They don't have a point guard, and who's worth anything. And they're going to have a tough time against Indiana, I think.
Well, LeBron is an amazing player, but he has to do too much. And that's where the fatigue factor will come in. And of course, Indiana is good, but they're not a great team. They're a good team. Even if Cleveland gets beyond Indiana, I don't see them going very far. This makeup of this team is definitely very fragile. No question about it.
I got to tell you something. I don't think Lou is doing a particularly good job either. And LeBron is, when is he gonna wear out? He's not getting a lot of rest, and they're depending on him for a lot, and they want him to carry him every game in the fourth quarter. And if it wasn't for, like I said before, if it wasn't for the three-point shooting of one guy in the last game, I think they get beat.
Well, yeah, Korver stepped up at the end there and hit 3 threes, and that made a huge difference. No question, he bailed them out. Not getting enough points out of Love, although he contributes well with the rebounds in his defense. But they're just they're a fragile team. They're not a championship quality team any longer. And we still got to stick with the West. With Houston. Now the Pelicans are sneaking in there as a viable option. Utah is looking pretty decent, although I think they're going up a very dysfunctional Oklahoma City team. And then, of course, you got Golden State. So the better teams are in the West. We've said it all year. But now you have the 76ers climbing up to the top of the East, which is making that very competitive. And right now, you got to be careful what you say here, because the 76ers played Miami, which was short, as far as talent is concerned. And they'll move on against better teams now. But they're very strong. And now that they got Joel Embiid back, 7'2", can do a lot of things. He's a heck of a player.
I like Philadelphia. I think they're well coached. They've got there's some balance on that team. They got size, and I think they're the team to beat in the East right now. I tell you, I don't see anybody else coming out of the East right now, because Philadelphia has been so consistent. Remember, they had that long winning streak coming into the playoffs. Nobody was beating them.
I think they've lost one game in like 20 games, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they had 16 straight wins coming into the playoffs.
Yep. It's anything in baseball. It's Ohtani is he's everything everybody thought he was going to be. He's got tremendous talent, great hitter. Still too young, too early in his career to anoint him, but there's a lot of talent there. It looks like the Angels picked up a real gem when they got him.
Yeah, Red Sox kind of hit the wall. They finally got a losing streak going, so they're hit. I mean, they've become human on this West Coast trip. And the Yankees are playing pretty good ball right now. They've really picked it up, and they're hitting the ball extremely well. So with the one exception, and last year's MVP is not doing very well in New York yet, but the Yankees are a solid ball club, and they're getting pitching right now, in addition to everything else. But they're really hitting the ball, and the Astros are good as expected. I'll tell you, it was a nice team. The Phillies are okay. They're fun to watch. It's I'll tell you, you might want to watch the interview with Brian Gumbel and Derek Jeter. I guess they really went at it. They're friends on the golf course, but Gumbel really tore him up with how he said that he accused him of tanking with this Marlins team.
Really? Well, they certainly got rid of an awful lot of big payroll, that's for sure. A lot of talent that walked out the door in this offseason after they were purchased. But, they have made, look at today. The Dodgers are minus 353 over Miami today.
Kershaw's pitching.
Yeah, but anything. It's just an enormous price. Some places are getting darn near 374. You could see your first 4-1 price for the year on this. So that's a little bit of a shame. Yeah, they're definitely in a rebuilding mode. Whether they're tanking or not, that's another issue. But they're definitely not a very good team. They probably. What do you make the over and under? How many games they win this year?
The Marlins?
Yeah.
60.
60? I'll bet under 60.
Okay. They've got some good young pitchers, and they beat the Dodgers last night. They're going to win some games as the season goes on. They've got some guys who are hurt. They got their catcher back, Regalmuto, and their first baseman is a good hitter. They've got, a few guys who can play, and as the younger guys get more involved, I think they'll win some games.
I think they win about 33% of their games. That's my guess, which would put them in the high 40s or 50s. That's just my guess with them.
They've got three real good young pitchers, but they can't get them any runs. That's the problem.
Yeah, and then of course you got to have a decent bullpen as well to go with any of your starters, because that's the way the game is played these days. So you need to have a decent bullpen to go along with it. Hank, your plays are up at jimfeist.com. So are mine. And unless there's anything else you want to cover, is there anything you want to touch base on before?
Well, Gronk is out of the Kentucky Derby. He's got a high fever, and I guess there are 2 or 3 horses who are out now, and so there's one horse who got in, who's trained by Asmussen, who gets in now, who's been running seconds and thirds, who might have a chance to hit the board. Actually, he's been running in Arkansas, and he was third in the Arkansas Derby, and he's not a bad horse, and there's a lot of speed in that race. And if you're looking for a closer, I'm not giving it away, but Asmussen's a good trainer. So the draw is Tuesday at 11 o'clock, and this is a fairly competitive race, actually. It's going to be an interesting derby, but no Gronkowski. which is killing ESPN, who is probably going to devote a lot of time on a horse who can't win anyway. So now they're going to have to change their strategy of how they're going to cover the race.
Maybe they should just cover it the right way and talk about all the horses.
Yeah. Well, you got Baffert, who's got 2 horses in there, and you've got Todd Fletcher, who's got 4, and you've got 2 undefeated horses. And I think the horse who's probably going to have a bad day is Apollo, who hasn't run since the last century or 2 centuries ago, who was the only horse ever to win without racing as a 2-year-old. You've got 2 horses who haven't raced as a 2-year-old who are undefeated, and they both have a very good chance of winning.
Wow. It's going to be interesting. I look forward to it. Hank, thank you very much for today, and we'll talk to you in a couple days.
Okay, Jim. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay.